Okay, welcome to episode 26 of Nobody Should Listen to This with Jimmy Trueslacks. This time we're going to be talking about programming. Have you been programmed? Short answer is yes. I've been diving into my own programming and trying to figure out, okay, do I actually think this, or has this just been like repeated over and over and over again by my environment, whatever I'm listening to, consuming? Do I even feel this way, or am I just like repeating because I am distracted? What things have been said over and over and over and over and over again around me. So you start to go on your healing journey, um, which I started. It's been 9 years now. I think that I actually started to pay attention, and I'm 45. I think my daughter will correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm 46. Maybe that's coming soon. I think it is. Um, but when I started diving in, then for the last for 35 years of my life, I was really like operating on maybe some programming I didn't really even believe is true. And then you start to believe whatever you're being told is good for you and what the right thing to do, and then you come to find out, man, how many times uh, they're wrong. It's not true. It's You're being fed this, and it's being repeated because we're just so malleable. We're so very much primed for to be programmed. So this goes back to when you're 0 to 7 years old. Think of it as like maybe you're a brand new computer, clean hard drive. You come into the world, and slowly between 0 and 7, you start to pick up new software. New software gets wired into your programming. That's the way I think of it. So from 0 to 7, 0 you're clean. As you get to 7 years old, by the time you're 7 years old, you're basically you have core beliefs based on your environment and what you were, the information that was coming in, the software that was being downloaded is now your personality. So if you've been victimized or felt like you've been victimized that whole time, or even if you weren't, even if you felt you were loved that whole time, you're just downloading the programs around you that become your personality. And unless you're aware of that's actually happening, which we're not, until much later in life. Like I said, I didn't discover my own free will until I was 35, and then the next 9 years were super painful. Like, just to go through the gamut of like, wait a second, maybe that's not true at all, and maybe just your world can shatter. So I think that's what's been transpiring over like the last 9 years, and I've been just digging into it all, and what is true, what's not true. So I'll share some of my own programming that I know is not true, but I'm only learning now, and the that I would never be able to be a business owner. That's just not in the cards for me. I need to work for somebody to guarantee I have some income, and I'll never be able to run my own business. I'll never be able to survive, let alone thrive. Like that is just not in the cards for me. Like, I'm a laborer. That's basically all I am. And I've proven that to be not true. And I not only can I survive, I can do pretty well. Now, mentally, I still have some work to do for sure. Like I still like I have to really try to convince myself that we're good. You know, it's hard. It's a really hard transition, but the proof is uh, in the, you know, in the balance sheet at the end of the years. So we're doing, we're doing better than we were. So that's like I'm just proving to myself that I had a condition about me that was not true, and I perpetuated it in my hard wiring for so long that it's taken a toll on my mental health to like wrap my head around. Oh no, like, and then when you discover that, you discover all sorts of other things. You start to become aware of other things that are maybe not benefiting you anymore. And it was, there's a lot of overlapping themes probably on all my uh, episodes of this show. But yeah, just learning about the programs you are susceptible to. Now, I would say number one is you have to come to grips with, if you are a human being and you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, there's no way, like I have free will, I know exactly what I'm doing, I want to do everything I'm doing. And if you can't admit that there is a definitely a part of you that is susceptible to being programmed by what you consume, then you are the prime candidate for somebody who is definitely programmed. And if you can come to grips with that, you might start discovering that you're living within the confines of what your 7-year-old self believes you can do or be. And that might be limiting. That might limit you to, might think you're small, you know? So I've been listening to a lot of like Bruce Lipton, who's a biologist, I believe, of some kind. He knows a lot about human biology. But he's like he's considered a fringe guy because he has wild ideas that we're in way more control of, and we're divine beings. We have, set aside religion, but just scientifically, we have this quantum realm that we live in, where like this projection of our mind, we create what we think. Thoughts are electric, and they produce charges and frequencies, and that's what, the video game appears before us as we create together, co-creating this earth together. That kind of that resonates with me. So that's how I'm trying to wrap my head around. And then as soon as I get into a mental space that isn't necessarily like, I have some negative, I have negative tendencies in my head. Like I have this negative program in my head that I don't know if it was just like, I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe I don't think of my life as like a place where I commiserated and just complained a lot. But I definitely have this like hard wire in my brain to like complain. And it's a shame. It just gets in the way of enjoying the small amount of time we're gonna have. So I struggle with that. I'm admitting it to, whoever is listening to this, that I get stuck in this, like, I get stuck in these negative. There's so much to be grateful for. I have an original song about this on this YouTube channel. It's called Maybe I Like the Pain. Check it out. That kind of summarizes like this like reoccurring theme in my life. And maybe I'm just reinforcing it by saying like I have this reoccurring theme of like maybe that's true too. Maybe I need to just stop saying it into existence and say no and change it and be the change. So I don't complain. I have been practicing exercises where I'm like, okay, this morning I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna try not to complain. I'm gonna try to be grateful for things around me and all the love that the people, and I have a lot of great friends and a lot of great family and a lot of love surrounding me all the time. Yet I can still like be negative somehow. And maybe that, maybe that's normal and I need to go easy on myself and just like, okay, well, that's a part of it too, like that's when I go to my therapy groups, that's what we always come around to is that like, it's okay to be negative. Just like it's a part of you too. It's the shadow part of you that you need to accept. Because if you resist it, it just gets worse. The resistance makes it worse. So, I keep working on that, working on noticing. Just noticing like that, okay, you've gone, you've let your mind go a little too negative here. You need to reel it back in. And, but also not resist it, just kind of notice it's there. Um, Maybe even ask it some questions like it's your 7-year-old. It's like either your 7-year-old's hanging onto your leg, just tugging on your leg, saying, don't put yourself out there, bud. Just stay here. Like I have another song about that. It's called, what's it called? I think it's called The Light. And it's, yeah, check it out. It's about that. It's about the child in me. It's funny, a lot of my music, when I'm writing, if I write a song or often when I'm writing music, I have a melody in my head. So I have like, I have to figure out if it's something that's already been written or if I'm actually like, I've come up with something that I need to act on. So that's how my songs usually start. And when I'm writing the lyrics, it's so funny. Like I'm not really even processing what I'm writing. It's more like, it's like a meditation almost. Or I'm just like in a flow, and the lyric fits with the melody. And the lyric, when I listen back to my songs, I'm like, oh my god, those are all like the subconscious information I've been like trying to reprogram my mind with, like all the lessons that I've learned. It's all like all of that information is in those songs. So it's funny when I listen back to them, and there's a lot of wisdom in the lyrics, and I don't, again, like this podcast, I'll say a bunch of stuff that I, you know, need to do a better job practicing myself. So, it's all a lesson, always learning, never, you know, I think I need to do a better job of enjoying my moments. I tend to think I need to fill them with productivity, and then I get upset with myself if I'm not. And, I don't know. I need to enjoy the moments more that are ticking by. Doing this right now is something I wasn't planning on doing, but I knew today I needed to do something productive, and like surprisingly talking to yourself is an exercise of productivity, because you can find little gems of little bursts of creative spark. So this, doing this might spark some music that I want to write, or at least just putting this up feels like I'm doing something. I'm communicating to the environment around me, co-creating the environment around me. Hoping that any information I might share could bring some kind of, I don't know, shared emotion or shared feeling, like, oh yeah, like maybe I don't look into this, and this person seems to be being a little bit honest with themselves, and then maybe I can do that too, and I think what's interesting is that there's a lot of advocacy. You see, if you are paying attention to social media, and a lot of people are spending a lot of their time on their phone being outraged constantly. And there's nothing worse than fear, other than sugar, that um, like dampen your immune system. So if we're trying to be healthy, the two things we need to eliminate the most are fear and sugar. And I'm afraid that we are operating in this world on fear and sugar right now. We're just eating snacks and consuming news that wants us to be afraid that World War III is about to happen, and that, and then so there's a lot of advocacy, and a lot of people have chosen a side heavily, and they are showing it, and they are memeing themselves to death online, and they are appear to be living in fear. Which, if you want to be healthy, we've got to stop this. We've got to stop feeding this beast that wants us to click their thing, because it evokes an emotion of fear inside of us. It's been going on for far too long, and this is part of the deprogramming. I can't watch news. I don't consume it anymore. I try to be out of the loop as much as I can, so I can be healthy. Like, just need to be healthy. I've taken a really strong interest in my body and how it feels, and working out. I don't need a gym. All this stuff is free to be healthy. You don't need a gym. You don't need any fancy equipment. Just do push-ups, move your body, mobility, squats. Maybe if you had a kettlebell or something, lift some heavy stuff, or just lift heavy stuff around. There's lots of heavy stuff around your house you could lift. Just lift it. Lift it up, carry it, put it down, squat, push-ups. Don't need a gym. There's no excuse. You can't afford the gym. You don't need to go. You just do it at home. You just need the motivation. And I'm afraid we've been, I don't know, for some strange reason, we've just been led astray, and it's our own fault. So I don't want to fall into a victim. I'm not going to fall into a victim mentality here. I'm going to own my participation by buying the sugary shit for all those years, feeding it to my kids, which I regret heavily, because now I have two sugar addicts, living in my house with me. I'm also still addicted to sugar. I recently, I haven't drank alcohol since July of last year, so it's quite a long time. But I still, I'm such a sugar addict. I love between the hours of 7 and 9 p.m. Like, if I could get my hands on 12 donuts, I would eat them all. I have to really try hard not to eat a lot of sugar. So I'm not a victim. I participated. I'm still participating. Still, I struggle with soda pops, sugary drinks. Since I removed alcohol, it's even harder, because I was drinking Guinness and there's some sugar in there. But yeah, so I know how hard it is, but there's no, you're responsible for you. There's a lot of talk about genetics and oh, it's in my genes. That, I don't think that's true. I think that you turn your genes on and off by how you think. And you might have a genetic disposition, but you get to decide whether you turn that gene on or off. And if you've been told, programmed by your parents, that, oh, cancer in the family, we're all going to die of cancer, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, you start to believe that you're going to die of cancer, you're going to probably die of cancer. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how I feel. That's how it feels to me. So I'm removing those things. I am not a victim of my ancestors who didn't think they could own their own business. I'm changing that right now. I'm showing my kids, no, you can. You absolutely can. And you should. You should be an entrepreneur. You should create something beautiful in this world that, um, you know, that's what I want my kids to do. I want them to follow their passion and create their lives around it and their livelihoods. Right now, that in this current paradigm we live in, that's making money. And trading time for money is, you know, depends on how you feel. I don't want to tell others how they should feel. Some people are very happy working the same job, doing that's what they love. That's great. I think trading time for money is hard for me. I still do it. My job, even my entrepreneurial job, I trade time for money. I would like to expand that. I would like to expand my um, uh, income streams. I would like to have multiple income streams. I would like to, my wife and I do run a cottage rental, so we make a little bit of passive income, but that basically covers the cost of the cottage. So we're not really making a lot of money with that, but we have access to an awesome cottage that we get to use in the summer. It connects us to nature, gets us, out of the city and back in nature, which always feels good. So we're super lucky to have that. And, maybe one day it'll make us money. It'll be another income stream. Right now it just covers the expenses of the cottage, which are a lot. And, we have to spend a lot of time there too. So we're not exactly freeing our time up with that endeavor either. So I want to expand on my passive income stream. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. What am I going to do? How will I make passive income? Maybe through this channel at some point. I mean, certainly not with 65 subscribers, but you never know. That could grow. It's just about being consistent and keep doing the thing. So as I'm speaking, I maybe should do this more consistently. That might be a good idea. For them, since I started, I wasn't putting really any pressure on myself to do any kind of consistent content, but that's probably why I don't get, or maybe not, maybe nobody likes the content, so that's why it hasn't grown. But you never know. It might grow someday. Just keep doing it. That's what I keep telling myself. You just keep doing the thing. Put the information out there that you want to. That makes you feel authentic. That doing this makes me actually feel like I'm actually contributing in a different way that is like sending memes on Facebook with my political leaning. I think the advocacy, the rampant advocacy, and the moral high ground virtue signaling, my party is better than your party, no matter what side you're on. It doesn't do anything. Nobody's changing their mind. They're just getting solidified in whatever group they've decided they're going to be in. So I would advocate, if you found yourself listening this long into this episode, I would advocate that the greatest change you can make, and the greatest change that will help achieve what it is you want to achieve, which is, as you're advocating on your social media platforms for whatever political side you find yourself on, you may achieve that faster through going inward into your own body and coming to grips with your own uncomfortableness. And then that reverberates to the people around you, the closest people around you, and then maybe you start to be the change you want to see instead of shouting at the rooftops for people to change to see things the way you do. And I've found myself in that trap, too, where I feel so strongly about something I want to change people's minds to think the way I think. I'm not living in their world. I'm not living in their paradigm. We may be on different planets in the same planet. We may have different experiences that have shaped. Not may, we do. We have different experiences that shape the way we think. We are consuming what we consume. We are creating our world around us as we see it. And nobody's objective, or, nobody's living an objective truth. They're all subjective truths to how we see the world based on our programs that we've been programmed, and we are consistently being bombarded with fear, and that makes your immune system low, and then that makes you susceptible to viruses and disease, and then we throw sugar on top of it to get the dopamine up, but then that just lowers our immune system even more, and now we're getting sick, and now we can't go to the birthday. We're always sick. We need to I need to get more serious about less sugar, less living in fear. Those are my two goals. And when I quit cigarettes, when I quit drinking, life didn't get less fun. I don't think it became less fun. So if I could remove sugar, that also doesn't mean life's going to be less fun. Anyways, these are my two thoughts, or 17,000 thoughts in 27 minutes. So, man, that just whipped by. I thought it was, I don't know if it was uniform or had a theme. It was supposed to be programming, but I just went off. So I don't even know. Kind of blacked out. We'll see. I'll listen back. Maybe there's some wisdom in there I can listen to myself on. Anyways, I think we'll end it there. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining. I have all these fun buttons here. Yay, we did it. Episode 26. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.